Good afternoon, everyone. We are about to get started with this amazing program. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to everyone. We're excited because we have almost 1,400 people that are online listening in with us today. So that means that this is the hot ticket item at USDA. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to the 2023 USDA's Women's Equality Day observance. My name is Dr. Deirdre Chester, and I am the director of the Office of the Chief Scientist. I am in the Research, Education, and Economics mission area. And so our mission of our office is really dedicated to creating a safe, sustainable, competitive U.S. food and fiber system, as well as building strong communities, families, and youth through integrated research, analysis, and education. And I will be before you today to welcome you. And so some of those things that I said we do in the Office of the Chief Scientist are exactly what women do in America. And so we're excited about that. In my role in the Office of the Chief Scientist, I also deliver science and research that undergirds all of the policies and practices of USDA and its customers and its stakeholders. And what I want to do right now is really kind of set the moment. I started as a postdoctoral research associate at USDA almost 20 years ago. And I am really an example of why it's so important for us to invest in our next generation of agricultural students and leaders. And I'm grateful to be standing before you today. So today is an occasion that's filled with gratitude and admiration as we come together to honor women and celebrate their invaluable contributions. We gather under this year's theme, Empowering Women, Empowering the World, which highlights the transformative power of gender equality. It focuses on the importance of empowering women and the positive impact that they are making in the world today. It also recognizes the progress made in breaking down those barriers for women and emphasizing the need to continue shaping a future where women have equal opportunities in all areas of life. This theme is really a testament to the progress we have made in dismantling barriers for women and our unwavering commitment to creating a future where every woman is met with equal opportunities and recognition in every sphere of life. But the workforce, is the facet of this very society. I am very fortunate to have been mentored by amazing leaders in USDA. So this is such a momentous occasion. I am deeply honored to stand before you today, surrounded by individuals who share the vision of a more equitable workforce and society. It is with immense pride that we hold this departmental Women's Equality Day observance hosted by the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights. USDA aims to raise awareness about the important role that women have played and the challenges women face in seeking equality in the workplace and challenges in agriculture, and to promote a culture of inclusion and respect. USDA hopes to inspire and empower women as we are committed to fostering a workforce that thrives on the strength and resilience of women, propelling us toward a more inclusive workplace and enlightened world. At USDA, we understand the critical importance of raising awareness about the vital role women have played throughout history and the challenges they continue to face in their pursuit of equality. We believe that fostering a culture of inclusion and respect is not just essential, it is our responsibility. To shine a light in this area, we have organized a fantastic lineup of notable women who will speak today, sharing both their experiences and their stories of prominent women who have made significant contributions to organizations, communities, and the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a moment to applaud our remarkable musician, Amante Lacey. As you can see, Amante is delivering an exceptional performance, adding a fantastic musical touch to our Women's Equality Day observance. For participants that are viewing online, please note that for this event, we have closed caption. So please look at the bottom of your screen and locate the CC button and select that button, and the captions will appear on your screen. In addition, note that we will not be utilizing the chat for this. So now let's get started with our amazing lineup. So Dr. Lisa Ramirez is the Director of the Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement, OPPE. She will provide the civil rights greeting for today's observance. Dr. Ramirez previously served as the Chief Innovative Officer for the Lubbock Independent School District in Lubbock, Texas. Previously, she held roles as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy and Programs and the Director of the Office of Migrant Education and the Director for the Office of School Support and Rural Programs in the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. She also served in the U.S. Army Reserves and holds a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and doctorate of education degree from Texas Tech University. So please welcome Dr. Lisa Ramirez.
Superstar, oh, you are. You're everything to me. You are amazing, so amazing, so amazing.
Thank you, Dr. Chester, for that introduction. It's such an honor for me to be able to provide the civil rights greeting for this year's USDA Women's Equality Day observance. As she went over that bio, I just have to mention being able to do this, number one, in this beautiful country and in English, because English is not my first language, and to be able to do this as the daughter of a single parent. My mother raised us. And as the mother of one daughter, it is really, truly an honor to be able to do this. As the Director of the Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement, it is with an immense pleasure that I extend a warm and heartfelt greeting to all of you gathered here in person and virtually in celebration of the progress that we have made and the ongoing pursuit of civil rights. Today, we gather to commemorate the hard-fought battles and milestones achieved by women throughout history and here at USDA. It is an occasion to reflect on the transformative power of women's voices, actions, and resilience in shaping a more just and inclusive society. On this day, we honor the suffragists who fearlessly fought for women's right to vote. Women's Equality Day is celebrated on August 26th because on this day in 1920, the 19th Amendment was ratified, granting women the right to vote in the United States. And while the 19th Amendment granted rights for women to vote, barriers to voting still existed due to racial discrimination. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 aimed to overcome those obstacles and protecting the voting rights of minorities. Today, we recognize the dedication that paved the way for the empowerment of future generations. We pay tribute to the trailblazers who shattered glass ceilings, reminding us that gender should never be a barrier to achieving our dreams and aspirations. Women trailblazers like Shirley Chisholm, who once said, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." Ms. Chisholm was the first African-American woman elected to Congress. She represented New York's 12th Congressional District from 1969 to 1983. Ms. Chisholm served 7 terms and championed anti-poverty programs and educational reform. She was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus and the National Women's Political Caucus. In 1972, Ms. Chisholm became the first woman to seek the presidential nomination from one of the two major political parties. Although her bid was unsuccessful, her candidacy enabled her to raise issues of importance to African Americans and women and to forge the way for others. Another trailblazer, and there are many, is Dolores Huerta, a labor organizer, co-founder of the National Farm Workers Association, and she works to register agricultural workers to vote. Ms. Huerta took an intersectional approach to organizing the farm workers, meaning that she considered how the specific needs of workers varied depending on their diverse identities. She observed that women farm workers were at a unique risk of sexual violence, and that the children of farm workers had specific concerns for their rights as younger laborers in the fields alongside their parents. Ms. Huerta's concern for the needs of the families of workers influenced her stance on the necessity for nonviolent action. In 2003, she established the Dolores Huerta Foundation for Grassroots Community Organizing. The foundation works to organize communities and develop future leaders. Ms. Huerta often advocates and encourages Latino women to become involved in public offices. She sees the work of her foundation as continuing the legacy of the nonviolent movements of civil rights that she participated in. The foundation continues to engage California residents in voter registration drives and nonpartisan candidate forums, continuing Ms. Huerta's work that she began with the Agricultural Workers Association in the 60s. Another advocate for women's rights is Patsy Mink, the first Asian American woman and the first woman from an ethnic group elected to the U.S. Congress. Ms. Mink spent 4 decades at the U.S. House of Representatives advocating for the rights of women, children, minorities, and immigrants, and was a key player in the passing of Title IX legislation that brought equity at educational institutions by protecting people from discrimination based on sex in education programs or activities that receive federal financial assistance. And while there are many women throughout history that we can honor, I feel very, very blessed that I can look into my own family and within my own circle and throughout my career and think of the women who have paved the way in making this world a better place for all. I ask all of us to just think for a second. Reflect about the women in your lives, in your circle, who helped you get here today and who have helped make this world a better place. Let us reflect for a second on our mothers, our grandmothers, or other women who have sacrificed so that our dreams can become a reality. We are all here for a greater purpose. And I will shamelessly ask that you send a brief message of gratitude to those women, if at all possible. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege to be able to work with some amazing women, such as the Deputy Secretary for Agriculture, Xochitl Torres-Small, the first Latina Deputy Secretary of Agriculture. And also LaTanya Davis, our USDA's first permanent Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And amazing women like you that are here helping each other, helping elevate issues, but helping each other on the hard days when we can still recognize we have a lot of work to do, but we're in it together. Women who understand that breaking barriers in your career is not just for you, but it's for everyone. As we gather here today, we acknowledge that the journey towards full gender equity is far from over. We must continue to recognize the persistent struggles faced by women in various facets of life. Those struggles continue in the workplace, in educational attainment, in healthcare, and beyond. Our commitment to achieving true equality compels us to continue working diligently to eliminate discrimination, dismantle systemic barriers, and to amplify the voices of those who have been marginalized. This year's Women's Equality Day is not only a celebration of the progress we've made, but also a call to action. It's a reminder that civil rights are not granted once and for all, but rather it requires a constant grip and dedication to hold on to it. We must come together as a society, regardless of gender, to champion gender equality and to create a future where every individual can thrive, unrestricted by stereotypes and prejudice. Let us draw inspiration from the courageous women who have come before us and forge ahead with determination. Together, let us envision a world where opportunities are limitless, where each person is valued for their talents and their contributions, where gender equality is not just an ideal, but a reality. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate Women's Equality Day. May this program inspire us to carry the torch of justice, empowering women and creating a more equitable world for all. And in the words of Ada Lovelace, when we think of strong women, may we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. Thank you so much.
Couldn't find nobody. Search high and low. Still can find nobody. Nobody great. Nobody great. Nobody greater than you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ramirez. We just thank you for those inspirational words. Your words really add a powerful dimension to our event, just reminding us of the importance of civil rights and the collective efforts towards gender equality. I always think it's so important for us to make sure that we have that call of action, that we reach out to those women who are the giants on whose shoulders we stand. So thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for our truly captivating fireside chat. We are all thrilled and honored to present two exceptional panelists. Xochitl Torres-Small, the Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights. These accomplished leaders stand before us to generously share their profound experiences, shedding brilliant light on their extraordinary work. With their wisdom, they will offer personal anecdotes of inspiration drawn from their remarkable career paths, providing us all with a truly enlightening and motivational session. So we have a dynamic panel. I want to introduce them. Xochitl Torres-Small, who was confirmed by the United States Senate to serve as Deputy Secretary of Agriculture on July 11, 2023. She is the first Latina to hold this position. Prior to her confirmation as Deputy Secretary, Torres-Small served as Undersecretary for Rural Development. In this role, she oversaw loans and grants to provide infrastructure improvements, business development, affordable housing, community facilities such as schools, public safety and healthcare, and high-speed internet in rural, tribal, and high poverty areas. During her leadership, USDA Rural Development secured $2 billion to support rural broadband through the bipartisan infrastructure law. Prior to joining USDA, Torres-Small was a United States representative for the 5th largest district in the country. As representative, Torres-Small served as a member of the House Agriculture Committee, the House Armed Services Committee, and as chairwoman of the Oversight, Management, and Accountability Subcommittee of the House Homeland Security Committee. She was the first woman and the first person of color to represent New Mexico's 2nd congressional district. She is the granddaughter of a farm worker and grew up in the borderlands of New Mexico. Torres Small has a law degree from the University of New Mexico School of Law, an undergraduate degree from Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, and an international baccalaureate from Waterford Kambaba United World College of Southern Africa. She is married to New Mexico State Representative Nathan Small. Without further ado, please welcome Deputy Secretary for Agriculture, Xochitl Torres Small. Thank you. With us, we also have Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds, who is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights, Management and Operations in the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights. Through this appointment, Dr. Brown Reynolds provides executive leadership and oversight for all internal general operations, operational decision-making, organizational change management, employment, and program complaint processing for the department, including managing the performance of the career SES leadership. Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds has dedicated nearly 30 years to the law, public service, civil rights, and justice through her work as executive counsel to Georgia's governor and chief of staff and executive counselor to Georgia's lieutenant governor. She served as a Georgia State Assistant Attorney General, Assistant District Attorney, and a judicial clerk for the Georgia Court of Appeals. She is a practicing attorney, a registered mediator, and is a member of numerous bar associations. With service in all three branches of the government, and she has served as Chief Legal Officer, Chief of Staff, Senior Policy Advisor on a wide array of issues. Dr. Brown Reynolds received a dual appointment with the University System of Georgia as an adjunct university professor at Georgia State University's Andrew Young School of Policy Studies. She holds a PhD in criminal justice from Nova Southeastern University, Juris Doctor from Georgia State University College of Law, a master's degree from the Interdenominational Theological Center, and a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University. Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds also had her own Emmy-nominated national television show named Family Court with Judge Penny. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Penny Brown Reynolds. So now is the time for you to buckle up, audience. You're about to experience the fact that women are extraordinary leaders too.
Okay. They caught me off guard with the television piece. Forget I was the judge, right? Grandmother and all of that. We're so excited right now. Aren't you excited for our, come on, you can do better than that.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. One of the things that acting Deputy Secretary Kevin Shea said is that you bring joy. And in this world that we have today, don't underestimate the power of someone who walks in the essence of always smiling, because we know what's on the inside comes out. And so that was so poignant yet simple what he said about you, that you bring joy to USDA. And so with that, everybody's trying to get to know you. So I've got the scoop. So I'm super excited about this. Let me just say this about Women's Equality Day. It commemorates the struggles that women have had, but we today want to let you know that we see you and we hear you. So let's get to it. Why do you think it's important to celebrate Women's Equality Day?
You know, I think it's an incredible opportunity to take stock of where women have been, where we are now, and what are our hopes and dreams for future generations. In thinking about this day and this conversation, I couldn't stop thinking about one of the things that was in Dr. Ramirez's remarks. It was just weaved throughout, which was how this work has been a work of generations and how I would not be here without my mother and my grandmother and women of other generations who have forged a path for me. And what that also sometimes means is that the way we think about what it means to be a woman in the workplace or a woman in the world can feel different based on that generational experience too. And the chance to get to learn and share and continue to grow and think about how what we do now is less for us maybe and more for who will be changing the world in years to come. That's what this day means. It's this time for to span the generations, to recognize each new opportunity that comes because of the progress that's been made in the past.
I think that's incredible. Administrator Whitley said that USDA, this is not your grandfather's USDA. Sitting on this stage right now are two women of color, a Latino woman and an African-American woman. And so we're here on the shoulders of all of those. I often say that my mother struggled so I would not have to, because I can tell you with all of our smiles and everything that brings us here, we all have a story. And so with that, you often speak of your Nana, and I want you to tell everybody who she is. What lessons did your Nana provide for you that you can say brought you to this place where you are now?
There's a few stories I want to share about my Nana because she was foundational to who I get to be today. The first is more just who she was. She always showed she cared by putting work into something. So I still have dolls that she made for me. I was one of 26 grandkids, and she made me dolls. She sewed me shirts. You know, she put time into the people that she loved. I also remember her cutting a cebolla, cutting an onion when I got ants working in the garden with her, and putting it on my ant bites because that was what would stop the pain, right? But so she just showed her love by sharing lessons and by putting work into things. The other thing that I remember about my Nana, is that she was strong because she didn't always take things seriously. So my dad sometimes tells this story about how they were getting ready to go to a funeral and they were eating breakfast before they went to funeral. And he was really excited because they'd gotten a Ready Whip canister and he'd never seen a Ready Whip canister before. It was very fancy for the family. And so he was putting it on his pancakes and it spurted all over his mom in her black dress. And she looked at him and she burst out laughing. And, as a mother of 9 kids trying to get everybody ready for a funeral, she had a lot of different ways she could have reacted in that moment. And she chose to react with laughter and love. But sometimes she had to be tough. And so just one more story. When she immigrated, she started out picking cotton in the Mesilla Valley, where I'm from. And she realized that you get paid for your work based on how much cotton you pick. And the women were given these bags that were smaller so they could fill them because it was heavy, cumbersome work. So they could fill them and then go to the truck, drop them off and get another bag. But she was realizing she was spending a lot of time going back and forth to the truck. And the men, on the other hand, had these big bags. They were able to fill more. She's like, I'm strong enough. I can handle the big bag. So she signed up to do more heavier work, and she made more money as a result. And so although she cared for people incredibly and put time into caring for people, although she showed strength through humor and grace, she also wasn't afraid to show her strength and stand up for herself in moments that mattered.
Well, that's very special. I'm connected to the deputy secretary because when we met, she spoke about her Nana. Because anybody, and I have a lot of the members from our staff, they'll tell you everything that comes out of my mouth, I'll say, my mother said, or there they are. You must shake your head. Thank you for this. As I go into what representation means in the next question, I want to share my story. And I grew up, because I'm much older than I look. A little Clairol will do it every time, right? We were in a store, and this beautiful Caucasian woman looked down at me. I was dressed very pretty. My mother, if anybody knew Lena Horne, my mother looked like Lena Horne. And she said, "You're such a pretty little girl. What are you going to be when you grow up?" And my mother said, "Madam, I have you to know that my daughter doesn't have to pick just one thing, that she is somebody to love, and she can be and do as many things as she wants to." I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it changed the course of my life. So when they're reading my bio about all the things I've done, whatever I wake up in the morning and think that I could do, it was because my mother, the things that she could not do, she put into me like your Nana did, so that now we can be here at USDA and be a representation and be our authentic self. That's key, being our authentic self. So this is about representation. As a history maker, and you've had many firsts, because I had them to read the whole bio. They brought it to me and I was going to cut stuff. And I said, no, people need to know. They needed to know you went to law school. They needed to know you went to Congress. But they ought to know that she's from stock of humble beginnings, because that's where the true power is. As a history maker, being the first Latina deputy secretary, what does this really mean for you? And do you have any pressure holding that first?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's honestly, I think the biggest thing that it means to me, but the pressure that I get from it, and I bet you feel this way too, it's that there's so many Latina women who I've had the chance to work with and learn from, who have supported me through this process and preparing for it. And it makes me think about what is my job and my role in supporting the next generation, because I have so much to pay forward. I have so much to be grateful for. I think about, we had, thanks to incredible work by Dr. Ramirez, as well as Deputy Undersecretary Gloria Montaño Green, the first internship program for HEP camp students. So these are children of migrant farm workers. And the time that we got to spend with these incredibly inspiring young people was so powerful, in part because we each got to be vulnerable about the things that we were struggling with. And the chance to get to share those vulnerabilities, I think, inspired everyone to recognize that all of us face these challenges. All of us are terrified about the work that we have to do sometimes. And getting to see that and share that together is really important. So one of the things that I struggle with as the first Latina deputy secretary for USDA is my Spanish is not perfect. And my dad grew up speaking Spanish, and ultimately, by the time I came around, he did not speak it much. He spoke it to his parents, and that was about it. And he kind of ran out of practice of using the language. And so I was raised speaking English and had to learn Spanish in school. And it's not a mistake, right? Part of the reason why he stopped practicing Spanish is because when he went to school, went to Catholic school, that the nuns would punish him for it. And he learned that if he felt like if he wanted to be successful, he was going to have he felt like he was going to have to abandon that. Thankfully, he relearned Spanish, and I got to learn it, but it's not perfect. And what I've decided is, in this role, I'm still going to try to speak Spanish in TV interviews and otherwise, because every Spanish word I speak, I fought for. And we've got to reclaim those things.
Come on now, isn't that powerful? Every Spanish word she fought for. the representation for me is big. As the first African-American to serve as legal counsel for a governor in my 30s, this was 25, 30 years ago. And I worked morning, noon, and night. If you, just like we're here, morning, noon, and night. And the cleaning lady came by. And when I grew up, you would never call someone who was an elder by their first name. And you know, you get on me all the time because everybody does. I call everybody by their last name because also I am a pastor. And so somebody is deacon so-and-so, because in the Black church, especially during the 60s and in the South, you would be called boy. But if you, no matter if you were a garbage man, but when you walked in the Black church, you were deacon so-and-so or deacon or a mother. And so I only know people by their last names. So the custodian, she was an older Black woman. She came into the office to clean up. And it was one of those days when it was just weary. I was just so tired. There was not internet, there was no Google. So I had to read the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, all of that for my governor before, highlighted, you know, all of the things that the lawyer would do. And I was weary, and she knocked on the door, and I called her by her name, and I brought her the trash can to the door, and I came back, and she knocked on the door, and she looked at me and she said, "Miss Penny, remember, you here for all of us." And in that moment, I realized that no matter how hard I was working or what I was doing, this little Black girl that grew up to be a Black woman who was in the first seat to hold that position, that every time I opened my mouth and every time I walked and presented myself, I was doing it for everybody who was Black. And I was doing it for all women, whether they were Black or white or Latino or Asian. And so from that story, I wrote a book, and I dedicated the book to her, because she really kept it right for me. It wasn't about a role or a title. It was about, what are you doing with the position that you have now? So that's my story about representation. You have a distinguished background, which is why I have to give it to you. I always say, give honor where honor is due. You're a former member of Congress. And we know there's a lot going on in Congress today. That's not your grandfather's Congress that's going on now. What skills did you bring from your role as an elected official to now in this particular role?
Well, you know, it's interesting. One of the things I love about having served in Congress for just 2 years, but it was enough. One of the things I loved about it is it gave me a different perspective, right? I get a sense of the challenges that representatives face when it comes to debating legislation, the compromises that have to be made if they want to get anything done, and the work that really needs to come when it comes to serving and representing your constituents. When you know, you and I, we've gone through had different jobs, done different things. And for me, each time it was kind of because I realized that what I did wasn't the whole picture. So, you know, I started off working, I wanted to do international work, and I realized, oh, but there's so much work to do back home. And then I was in politics, and I said, oh, but I want to be in governance. And then I realized, oh no, I want to be in the law, because that's where things get done. Oh, I want to be in Congress because you're making the laws. And then finally, oh, I want to be in the administration because you're enforcing, you're implementing the laws, right? But so what that really taught me is that, of course, none of us can do it on our own. We all rely on each other. We rely on those different parts of government. The other thing I learned in Congress was that power comes and leadership comes in many different ways, and don't have one notion of what it means to be powerful or what it means to be a leader. I used to call, you know, I came in with a historic class, the largest group of women in a freshman class. It was the year where all the women wore white at the State of the Union. And yet, even then, it would often surprise people that I was the representative when they came in my office. I remember actually one time, I walked in and somebody was leaving who I knew, a friend, and so I gave them a hug. And then I turned to the people I was meeting next, and one of the men said, "Oh, the intern is giving out hugs. I want a hug too." And so I just had to figure out what to do in that moment because I didn't, it kind of caught me by surprise, I'll be honest. And what I decided was, oh, he's going to be real embarrassed. But also, what's the opportunity for me here? How do I respond with power and grace and strength? And so I looked at him and I said, "Hi, sir. I'm the Congresswoman. It's a pleasure to meet you. And you know what? I do love spreading joy. I do love hugs. I will gladly give you one." And he was pretty dang embarrassed.
Yeah.
But as a result of that, I felt like I had the chance for him to hear something and also learn something, and learn that power and leadership look different. And you've got to stop expecting it to look just one way.
Oh, I love this. I hope you all are writing this down. I'm sorry to people on chat. Oh, look at all the hearts and claps. Keep them coming because those are some great quotes to have. I'm one of those people that write down these affirmations. Everybody just wants a chance to be better, to move up. And what I love about what you're saying is, you know how many times when I was on the bench, I was called the court reporter because I was, I'm in the elevator and they're assuming I'm the court reporter. And then imagine when I walked out and I'm the judge, right? So we get that. And you want to be gracious about it. So let them be embarrassing, let them be embarrassed. It's hard being a woman. It is, but I don't know about anything else I'd want to be. And I say that because we hold up the sky. And we've learned to do it with grace and dignity and honor. We do it. And a lot of times, just so that you can know for the younger women, I'm a more seasoned woman, that hold on to your dreams. Do that. Don't allow anyone to convince you that your dreams are not possible. Here at USDA, I often say on any best day is still the hardest job in the world, but there are possibilities and you have to keep moving forward. One of the best advice that I received from someone is when you know who you are, it changes who you argue with. And it's for that very moment that she didn't have to argue with anyone because she knew that she was the Congresswoman and we was about to look like a fool. So get to the point in your life where you begin to walk in who you are and where you want to be for right now. So thank you for that story. Can you describe some of the lessons you learned throughout your career that really helped you to be a success? Because you kept saying you went from this to that. I can relate. Because after this, I don't know what the world holds for me, right? But what are some of the great lessons? Because you're a good storyteller. And I wanted you to really focus on telling us some lessons because we didn't just want this. I wanted you to get to know her and know what I know about her because I meet and talk with her weekly, right? But and just to know that she brings a different kind of leadership. And you're right, it doesn't always look the same. But tell me about the lessons that make you who you are in this package.
So when I was elected to Congress, I remember the first time I had to meet with Leader Steny Hoyer. I had to go in, he had a office building in the Capitol with all the beautiful draperies, and I was so terrified about walking in. And I walked in and I looked around and I said, I am here because I represent my home. I cannot let them down by feeling like I don't belong here. So that's the first thing, is that sometimes when I don't have the confidence to do what I need to do, I think about the fact that it's not about me. It's about the people that we do this work for. When I lost, I ran for Congress and I lost. That's why I only served for 2 years. And when I lost, one of the most consoling things for me was focusing on what people that had been part of my team were going to do. Because it wasn't just me who lost, it was like my whole team who lost their jobs. And so I thought about how I was going to help make sure that these really smart people got to do this work. And that taught me my favorite thing that I get to do is have a team and work with and learn from a team. And so it doesn't matter if I don't have all the answers. In fact, I know I don't have all the answers. The opportunity of leadership is to have a great team and learn from and empower them.
That's outstanding, don't you think? I think that working in a team. I have to give a shout out to Dr. Bernal. Dr. Bernal came in, first African-American woman. She was here before I came, obviously, but so gracious. Can we just give her, she's not here, but I just kind of want to say that, right? I think for me with age comes a lot of wisdom and discernment, and just really at every cost, trying to just be myself. And really not trying to change the people around me, but we put this on the USDA LinkedIn, that try to just change the environment by being yourself. I'm a woman of faith. My staff will tell you that all of my lessons are draped in who I am. I know the secretary is a man of faith, and you are as well. Grew up Catholic. Those nuns, you couldn't left-handed. So I used to be left-handed, and they hit you with a ruler so much that we love nuns though, don't we? We love nuns. So I understand. It made me kind of sad though when you were telling about your daddy having to feel Americanized, that he couldn't be who he is. But I'm so glad he got back to that. So I think the biggest message we want to convey to you, at least what I'm hearing from the Deputy Secretary, be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Nobody can be who you are. I always say that DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid that makes me Dr. Penny Marie Brown Reynolds. What did my mother say to me? I'm somebody to love. And if nobody else would love me, I would love me. And you've got to bring that to any environment where you are. That's why civil rights is so important. That's why we stand to make certain that people on the margins feel like they belong here. This is all of our USDA. It's here for women, it's here for Latinas, it's here for Asians, it's here for LGBTQ, it's here for everybody. This is our USDA, right? Okay. So you got to be yourself. All right, a final question, kind of a final, because two people wanted to ask something in the audience, but what's the best takeaway you can offer for women at USDA? Give us some advice, because I want some too.
All right, but then I have a question for you.
Oh, gosh. Okay, now that was a plan.
I know. I'm just learning so much from you.
Really?
I got to keep asking. So I think the big thing for me is that knowing who you are helps you be a better part of a team. And you can't be a team player if you don't know who you are and what your needs are. And the team needs you to have that confidence and that love and that recognition, that self-love of who you are. And it's also your chance to learn from people who are different from you. And this is something the secretary does so well because he knows who he is and he chooses people who complement him. And by doing that, it's by knowing who you are that you can recognize how much you need others to.
That's wonderful. What's your question? No. It's scaring me now. Okay.
All right. Oh, this is fun. So one of the things I've been most inspired by you through is the way you recognize the mountain of work and challenge ahead of us while making incredible progress. And you spoke so beautifully to that at the Congressional Black Caucus Institute, how you can see that there's a whole lot more to do, but still celebrate the work that you're done. And I think that this day is another time to take stock of that. So how do you keep optimistic and hopeful and joyous when you see all of the work that's left to be done?
Boy, that's a hard question. That's why you're the deputy.
I've heard you give the answer.
Yeah. And we are each other's biggest cheerleaders. It's so sad. We go in for the meeting and we just gushing over each other the whole time that we finally have to get to our business. I'm trying not to get emotional because we have this little word in my office that when they're coming in to bring me bad news or things are not going bad, well, what do we say? So if there's bad news, they have to walk in and say, I love my job. And I'm saying, oh gosh, okay, I love my job. So y'all might want to try that when things are going bad. So today I've been walking around the office. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. As I said about being a certain way in terms of age and having a faith that I have that goes beyond me. I came here to do a job. And I understood that I was put in a place of doing something very, very difficult and challenging. But like you, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. So I am very patient. From being a judge, I knew that it would take time. Decades of dysfunction could not be changed, but you have to acknowledge that. So I am very, very patient. I am super persistent. That is one thing I am relentless in being persistent, that I wear my staff out about it because I'll call every day. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I came here very, very focused. But for me, it's 3 P's, and the third one is prayerful. I am persistent, I'm patient, and I'm prayerful because I know that I'm only one person. And I won't ever forget what you said. Of everything you've said today, what has been the biggest impact for me is team. Our organization was so vilified and dysfunctional on many levels. But what I came in to do first, a paramount, is to see them and hear them and get to know them. And so it started with the people. And then be the person that I say I would be all the time for them, consistently. They can't outwork me. And they'll tell you. So whenever I know, what are y'all doing? Come on, y'all support me, right? They can't outwork me because I am a person. I'm probably the last person to leave the office. And it just goes on and on. But I do it because it is a part of the assignment that I personally believe is a part of my destiny. Civil rights is a part of who I am. I connect with those people on the margins. I connect with your daddy. I connect with your nana and having to pick cotton. And we are so connected, people of color and just everyone, because all of us have a story of struggle. So when I see the employees, what I try to do is look at them and meet them where they are and get the best that I can get from them, but hold everybody to accountable. I am that mother and that grandmother who does not play because I'm holding you to a standard. So that's how I kind of do it. And just acknowledging. What do I always say? I've taken over my mother's saying, Rome does not have an expiration date. And because it doesn't, we can't go back and fix the future. But all I can do is make it better where we are now. Okay. Well, we have 2 questions from the audience. Audience, where are you? Because, I can't have the deputy secretary up here and not knowing who's going to ask the question. So, yes, ma'am, would you stand up? Latanya Mann, who is our joy number 2. She's our joy number 2 at USDA. Come on, you can do better than that for Latanya. She's in the liaison's office. Oh, my goodness.
I'm so nervous here at the People's Department. I'm sorry.
Put it all the way up so people online can hear you.
Good afternoon. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. My question is for both of you all. My name is Latanya Mann. Hi, everybody. My question is, what advice would you all give to your younger self?
Younger self. That's a good one. Listen to your mom. I love, as I get older, more and more of the things that I remember that my mom has told me make sense. And what I get is that that's what life is. It's getting to a point where things make sense that you didn't understand when you were younger. But in doing that, it's help. There's just some things you can't learn but for through experience. And what I love about my mom is that she knew that, she knows that. And so when I think about grace and what that means, I think about my mom, because she knew I wasn't going to hear her then, but that I would hear her someday. And learning is how we get closer to God.
Oh, that's so special. Yeah. I think I would tell little Penny at probably about 10 or 12 years old that you could not want more for yourself than God wants for you. And so stop worrying so much. I have to talk to her every now and then. It's going to be okay. You don't have to get it perfect, because if you wait for perfect to come, life will pass you by. So what you do is the best that you can do where you are. And no matter what, you don't have a single solitary thing to prove to anybody, because you are already worthy and great just being who you are. That's what I would tell her. One more question.
Hello, my name is Elena. Thank you so much for this moving presentation. My question is sort of a big one, but how do women get into positions of power?
Oh, that's a good one. And I don't think there's just one way. In fact, when I think about the times that I've been able to lead, it often felt like an accident. And there were different ways that it happens. But I think there's a few things that are common in that often it's doing the work that no one else wants to do. And when you do that and you do it well, you get recognized. Sometimes it's about standing up and saying, I want this. And when I ran for Congress, that was what it took. I spent a lot of time trying to convince other people to run. And ultimately I was like, no, you know what? I want this. And sometimes it takes that. And I think other times it's about building relationships. When I was first asked to serve as deputy secretary, the key reason why I said yes was the chance to get to learn from Secretary Vilsack, because he's so brilliant and so smart and so caring. And so sometimes you end up getting a leadership position because you've built a relationship with a mentor that that relationship will allow you to serve better as a result.
You've taken every one that I wanted to say. So thank you for that. That was just really good. For me, it's about delivering. All of my mentors were white males from the time that I started in my careers. All they understood was delivering. And that's all I'm about. If you can deliver, you will get the recognition that you need. Don't overpromise. Do what you say you're going to do. And when you do it 10 times better than anybody else. Search for it. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, you had the good mic. Secondly, you can't compete with other people. I kind of took myself out of competition. I went to law school and we hated law school for that because everything was about competition. There is enough room for all of us. The deputy's blessings can't cancel out mine. Mine can't cancel out hers. There's enough room. People win and divide us in this country by making us believe that there is scarcity of resources. And from my perspective, I believe there's enough for everybody. So if you believe that there's enough for everybody, everybody gets credit, everybody gets complimented, everybody just gets, and you get to a point where you want to learn. And then third, connect with people at a level of where they are. All of you have heard Secretary Valsick's story of being an orphan. Well, you heard my beautiful bio, but you don't know the story that's somewhat similar. I just know that God knew me in my mother's womb. And for that, my mother loved me. I connected with him on that because he's a trial lawyer and we're kind of alike in that get it done kind of personality. But he's not ashamed of his story. And he's freeing so many people by saying that you are the total sum of all of what you have been through. And there is nothing about what you've been through that should shame you. So when you're interacting with other people and you want to get where they're going, hear their story. Listen to their story and see how it connects to yours. And in the end, that's true power, because long after all of this is gone, the titles and all of this is no longer here. At its very essence is the humanity that we have within us, right? Okay. Do we have any more questions, or those were the two best questions we had? Let's give our deputy, come on. Let's give our beautiful, brilliant, inspirational Deputy Secretary a round of applause. Aren't we proud that in the Secretary's wisdom that he selected the first Latina, come on, and woman of color. Thank you. Well, I think, is this the closing? Very good, very good. Let's give our musician a round of applause. We're ahead of schedule, so we want to thank all of everybody who came here. And is it up to 2,000 people yet? Let's thank all of our people online. I mean, my goodness. I want to also give a shout out to Catherine Ferguson. She's on holiday this week. I don't know if she's online watching, but you talk about a woman of power and purpose. Let's give her a round of applause as well for being the woman that she is likewise. This has been an amazing and uplifting event, and I'm so thankful for everyone participating in person and online. To our Deputy Secretary, Torres Small, who's honored to be able to bring joy, who represents us so well, for inspiring us today during this fireside chat with all that she's doing, and for being a representation by serving as the first Latina Deputy Secretary of Agriculture, because believe it or not, she didn't just fight for every word. She's fought to be where she is today, and she deserves it. Let's give her a round of applause. I want to thank Dr. Chester, Dr. Ramirez. You've done outstanding. Would you please stand so everyone can just recognize you all one more time? Would all of the employees of the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights, would you please stand so I can recognize our team? And give us some hearts if you're online. They cleaned up real good. All the men came in suits. You know, I probably sent a memo out for that too. I want to thank Mr. Edward Prophet and his entire special emphasis team on putting this together. Where are you all? Come on, let's give them a round of applause. Ms. Garber, you have to stand up too because you participated in this with them as well. Thank you. I appreciate your hard work and vision for making this USDA's Women's Equity Equality, I keep saying everything is equity here, right? Observance memorable. Today we stand on the shoulders of the trailblazers who fought tirelessly for the rights of empowerment of women. This day reminds us of the progress we've made and that the journey lies ahead may not always be an easy one, but it is one that we will fight daily for full gender equality. We celebrate the achievements of the past and recommit ourselves to the work that still needs to be done. The struggle for women's rights is not just a women's issue, it's a human issue. As a woman in civil rights, I'm particularly focused on women who are on the margins. Those women who have gardens, those women who are farmers, those women who are picking crops and producers, those women every day, single mothers with latchkey children, trying to make a way out of no way. That's what we care about in civil rights. While progress has been made, women are still underrepresented in leadership positions around the world. The struggle for women's rights is about recognizing the inherent worth and potential of every individual, regardless of their gender. It's about dismantling the barriers that have held back half of a population from reaching their fullest potential. It is about acknowledging that when women succeed, societies prosper. On this Women's Equality Day, let us rekindle the flame of hope and determination that burns within us. Let us use the stories of the Deputy Secretary's Nana and all of the incredible stories that she provided for us from being in Congress and just from being a woman of color. Let us carry forward the torch of progress, lighting the way for future generations to continue to do important work. Remember that all of us have a story. It's a story of resilience, and it's a story of persistence. From a book entitled She Persisted, we remember Helen Keller, who became blind and deaf. People thought she'd never read, but she persisted and learned how to do all three and used her story to work for more opportunities for people with disabilities around the world. We have a story. And if I was in church, I'd say, and I stopped by here today on my way to heaven to tell you that I know life has not been easy, but you are not here by any accident. This has got to be the privilege of your life, being a public servant. Don't squander the opportunity, whether you're a woman or a man or transgender. It doesn't matter who you are a part of the human race. And the privilege of being able to serve is so awesome. Embrace your story and not be ashamed of it, but walk in it. Together, we can build a world where equality is not just a dream, but it's a reality for all of us. Thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to our resource. Come on, let's give them a round of applause. All of our resource organizations for being here today, and to our great musicians. Thank you.